I guess I've been interested in ships and activity around the port all my life. And certainly I remember when I was young, Dad and I would go down to the waterfront at weekends. I'd started documenting the names of ships that were coming into the port and writing dates and things as well. And that was taken to another level on my 13th birthday when I was given a box brownie camera. You only had 8 shots to a roll of film. You had to be fairly sparing about what you did. I was particularly interested in the rather scruffy coastal freighters as opposed to the freshly painted, smart-looking overseas ships. And Dad would say, what do you want to take a picture of that for? But to me, they were always quite appealing. When I was at school, I had limited opportunities. I would sometimes, with a couple of friends who developed a similar interest, we would run down at lunchtime to take a photograph of a ship at the wharf and then head back again in time for classes. But when I left school and started work, I chose to work at the Customs Department. And the Customs House was right on Davey Street, opposite Constitution Dock. Again, at lunchtime, I had every opportunity I wanted to get out and wander around the wharves. The photography opportunities were there. As time went on, I was also able to sneak out occasionally with my camera and catch the occasional arrival and departure as well. So that sort of took it to a more serious level. But once I got my first car in 1969, I could then go a bit further afield, perhaps out to the bridge or out to Risdon. Living in Mount Stewart, as I have for much of my life, has certainly been a bonus. We had an unobstructed view of the waterfront. You could see the ships at the wharves. You could certainly see them moving up and down the river, so that helped to feed the interest. I can even take a photograph of a ship from the deck outside the back door. Somehow, just walking out the back door and taking it from the deck doesn't give you quite that sense of satisfaction. I like to change the vantage point, the angle. I hadn't realised at the time that ship photography in Hobart, at least, was fairly popular. Hobart is a great place for ship photography. We're in one of the best places. That explains why there have been so many photographers over the years. It's part of a tradition that started probably as early as photography itself in Hobart. There are some very early images of the port dating from the 1860s. And certainly by the early 20th century, there were a number of photographers who were principally interested in ships and the port. I've obviously taken thousands of images over the years. The interesting thing is that I can often remember the occasion when they were taken, even right back to the very beginning. I can remember the circumstances of the very first photographs I took. And some photographs remain with you. It's the circumstances in which you take them that makes the difference. I have thought about why I take photographs, and I've found the answer is a bit difficult. Obviously there's an interest to begin with, but I think also I started years ago on a project to try and document as much of Hobart port activity as I could, and that includes not only ships coming into the port from overseas, but also local shipping, be it tugs or pilot boats or just local vessels of interest, documenting the development, the history. And beyond that, I think it's just the enjoyment of it. There is a sense of achievement in it. My hobby can become something of value to other people. The image, where possible, is more than just a record. I like to make the image a bit more, and so I'm quite happy to have a small craft in the foreground, or tugs fussing around the stern of the ship or the bow of the ship or whatever, and the pilot boat sitting off the bow. I just like having an interesting image with a bit of activity in it, there's still that feeling of satisfaction and accomplishment and anticipation that I had all those years ago. That hasn't changed, and I guess that will keep me going for the foreseeable future anyway.